Charles Biderman 彭博、CNBC 等媒体的熟面孔，以其独特的投资哲学成为华尔街的传奇之一。他是哈佛商学院 MBA 的高材生，25岁进入《巴伦周刊》工作期间就成功预言过房地产投资泡沫的破裂。而 Charles 积累的经验和财富，让他成功在44岁时创办了 TrimTabs， 一家专门研究美股市场资金流量的投资研究机构。除此之外 ，Charles 成功建立了自己的 ETF， 交易代码为 TTFS， 该 ETF 的表现更是好于罗素3000指数。而在本次 Money Show 的活动当中，我们也对这位投资大师进行了采访，看他会带来怎样的独特言论。Well, Mr. Biderman, thank you so much for joining us. Can you please introduce us the ETF you're managing and what's the investing philosophy behind it?
Okay, TrimTabs Float Shrink ETF, we started in October of 2011. It invests in the 100 companies that are reducing the number of shares outstanding the most, but only using a portion of free cash flow. And they're not increasing the debt to equity ratio, meaning they're not borrowing money to buy back shares.
So based on the quantitative method that TrimTabs uses, what do you think about the short-term trend of U.S. market?
Well, the short-term trend of the U.S. stock market is the same as it's been since 2011, and that is the number of shares in the stock market as a whole keeps going down. And so if the number of shares keeps going down and there's more money coming into the market to buy shares, so if there's more money chasing fewer shares, stock prices keep going up, which is what we've been saying for several years now.
You think how much can the market rally?
How much? I can't tell. I can tell you the direction. Where it ends up, I've never been very good at the end point.
We know the energy sector has been struggling because of decline of oil price. Is the capital flowing into or out of the energy ETFs?
Well, money has been flowing out of energy commodity ETFs and energy equity stocks. So that is actually encouraging because for many months, up until 2 weeks ago, we saw a lot of money going into energy ETFs, even though the price of oil kept coming down. So the fact that people were chasing a declining price meant to me that the price was still going to get lower. But now that investors have stopped buying and started selling, I turned a little more positive on energy. I think that we maybe have, I don't know if it's a long-term bottom, but I think we have a short-term bottom in the price of energy.
So what do you think about the Asian market? How do you expect the China's economy is going to perform in 2015?
Well, I think China has, to me, a major problem is all the money that's in office buildings that nobody's renting, shopping centers that nobody's buying anything in, and houses that nobody's living in. So the banks have a huge amount of debt securing these properties, and I just don't know how it can end well unless maybe several million more people will decide they want to buy homes or move in, or I don't know, but those empty, it's very scary to me. I just don't see how it ends well. So I would think that until China, and the other, in my opinion, I think that the Chinese government needs to let the people make their own economic decisions, in my opinion, and that, deciding how make financial flows, where the money should go, where the money shouldn't go.
Do you think China's economy is going through a bubble?
Well, I think that there's a lot of bad assets that haven't been recognized that I don't know what's going to happen when those bad assets get recognized. I mean, it could be volatile. I just don't know. I'm not, I've been to China only once or twice, and I'm far from being able to say I have any idea what's going to happen.
Well, thank you so much for joining us, Charles and Minyi. We know the U.S. weekly wage report, which released last Friday, turns out very impressive. So do you still think the Fed will not increase the interest rate this year?
I don't think the Fed will increase interest rates this year because the job market looks good on with those kind of numbers that they reported, but it's really minimum wage jobs. There are a lot of people who went off extended unemployment benefits at the end of 2013, so they're being forced to take any kind of low-paying job. So while we're seeing the number of jobs increase, they're not making more money than they were making when they were on unemployment. So I don't think the Fed can raise because the economy is just not that strong, really.
So based on the method you use, supply and demand, do you think 2015 will continue to be bullish on the stock market?
Well, as long as the number of shares keeps declining as it has been, and as long as there are a lot of new cash takeovers of public companies, which reduces the share count, yes, I think the market will continue to go up.
Well, your ETF, FFTS, I think it doubled since it launched. So do you think the supply and demand picture will continue to be the same this year? Would you like to take this one, Lee?
Yeah, I think the supply and demand will continue to be favorable to the U.S. stock market. And we've seen a lot of demand from the corporate. If you look at the corporate buybacks, we have a huge increase in the buyback number in the past 12 months, and I see the trend continue.
Well, so can investors short TTFS?
Yes, they can short TTFS. It's an exchange-traded fund. So,
Do you recommend it?
I don't have an opinion on that. If they want to short, yeah, I wouldn't short it myself. But if investor want to short it structurally, they can do that because it's an ETF, so it trades like a stock. So you can short along the position without any problem.
Okay, well, thank you. I don't know if you heard about this story. It's about the Vermont janitor, and he made about $8 million just through investing in the stock market. So do you think for individual investors, is it better for them to be stock pickers or just invest in ETF or mutual funds?
Well, I don't know the story, but my bet is that that individual spent a lot of time learning about the companies he was buying. So if you really want to do the hours and really get to know the companies that you're investing in, you can outperform. If you don't want to spend the thousands of hours that it takes to become a professional investor, you should invest in ETFs, and that I would recommend investing in ETFs that are growing free cash flow and use float shrink as a.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much for joining us, Charles and me.
Thank you.
Thank you.